So this is one of those books that I wasn't sure of putting on my list. I thought, maybe I kind of knew how to end certain things or know when to end certain things, but there's a lot to learn. I realized there's a lot to learn when to end things and when to go for things because I have made mistakes in detecting some signs, but still going ahead with the hope. So that's one of the things he goes through when you should have a hope or a wish versus seeing the reality. Because many times, if you haven't been through something, you don't know, right? Okay, hey, one of the things is many times people give up easily. That's one thing, right? And then there are sometimes people keep at it too long despite the signs showing clearly, whether it's relationships or businesses or business relationships or a certain business you start that's going in a way you you kind of see that it's not going well and you need to do something else, but you think, okay, no, I just need to keep trying harder, right? Something like that. Or professionally, same thing potentially. Maybe you have a job you're doing and you're kind of fairly doing well, but you see the sign on the wall saying, if I don't do something or learn something or do something else, this is going to not work out in the long run. So anyway, that's the whole point of the book is detecting those things, understanding those things, being on lookout for those things, and making those calls. And out of this, I think in the necessary endings, I feel like the biggest, at least personally, the toughest time I probably have is the personal relationship part. Sometimes, right? And that sometimes has encroached into the business relationship, and that's when it's really bad. So, for example, real estate investment I made, I thought the guy was a friend or proposed to be a friend. And I saw the signs that I don't know if this guy can be trusted. But in my mind, like, no, this guy is good. Some of history says it's good, despite the inconsistencies and some of the shoddy paperwork or agreements I got. That should have been a clear cut sign to me. But I went and did it because I thought personal relationship, a couple of people have said you did good. So despite that red flags, I went and did it. And that's one of the good examples of when I should have ended that and not even gone for that when I've seen those red flags. So same thing with some other one. It wasn't more about the person, it was more about too good to be true kind of deal, where I should have trusted that and said, nah, instead of being that overly optimistic hope and wish guy, and rather looked at the real, what I was seeing or where I couldn't see clear cut, like a fallback on not losing the money. And then, sure enough, I lost the money, right? So, anyway, that's one of the things personally I've gone through where I figured that's kind of what he goes through. Henry Cloud, he's also a psychologist, and I believe he's a psychologist. But, he's talking both about personal and professional relationship. I think his more experience is in the professional world. So that's the examples mostly he goes through. But personal also he goes through for friends, I guess family, friends, he has advised in the personal. So it's up to individual, right? Maybe, that's where you have the toughest time, the personal uh, versus the professional, maybe. So either way, I think this is a great guidebook to understand some of the subtle differences between what's real and what's not real, and understanding where you're hoping or wishing, or maybe wishing for, instead of actual reality of seeing the signs that there is something solid going on that you can actually hope for a better outcome. Uh, and in other cases, when hope is not warranted and you're just plain wishing um, some miracle thing to happen, that whatever you're seeing, the bad signs you're seeing is not real. Only the good signs are real. So that's what he kind of goes through. Great book to read. Um, Even if you don't read it, maybe it's a good one to hear it, like an Audible or something like that. So, highly recommend this book for anybody. I would say, especially business wise, I would definitely, if you're new to business or starting a business or in a business and struggling, this could be a good one. Maybe you could see what you're struggling with or what needs to change for you to succeed. So what's the necessary ending? That business, not the business itself, right? A certain, like one of the examples he gives is, I forgot the business. Eventually, this lady succeeded in, but she was at a Motorola or something and saw the signs that the whole smartphone was going to take over, but Motorola refused to. Motorola? I forgot. I think it was Motorola. Anyway, in the book, where they refused to budge, kind of go towards that direction, thinking, hey, we got the market share, da da da. We don't need the, smartphone. It's not going anywhere, or something like that. Kind of like the Blockbuster, right? Netflix Blockbuster did. So what happened is, in the book, he shares, she went to this other business and she saw clear cut where this medical system, whatever needs to be, essentially with, great business, doing great at that point when she took over as a CEO. But she saw the future where all these different systems need to be on a single platform, so everything can be integrated and easy to manage or easy to integrate any device. Basically I think it was medical devices, and then each one had a different software or something like that. So he saw the future where if she did that, then this would be a killer business that itself could be like a highly profitable, although the current business was profitable. So he just saw the future where eventually that might not be the case anymore, and somebody else figured out, some kind of, unique platform where integrated, everything could work off the same platform. So anyway, that's the whole point of this book, is things like that, right? Sometimes you might have past experiences that help you detect those endings and pivot in a different direction. Or like many startups, right? One of the things is startups start with one thing and then pivot to something else because that's the direction they saw based on the customer feedback, whatever. And sometimes, or most of the startups fail because they didn't even figure out what the customer wants and didn't pivot or go different directions, whatever. So either way, if you're doing a startup, you're in a business, you're in a profession, or personal relationship, it's very critical to understand when to end things and move on to new things or change directions, because change is constant. That's the only thing guaranteed in life. And if you don't go with the change and understand the change that's being shown to you, then result is probably losing whatever that is, business, personal relationship, whatever. So anyway, that's the whole point of the book. I would highly recommend reading it, maybe just listening to it, right? Just to get your understanding and look out for the signs in your personal or professional life.